You are very welcome back to the show. While lockdown has fueled the demand for cute furry friends like our cats and dogs, more people are turning to some very unusual creatures for comfort, Maura, and companionship.
Yes, we mentioned, Doyle was telling me that he had a friend with a stick insect, but there are more strange things
I'm going to get you one. I'm going to get you one.
Quails, apparently, ferrets, stick insects, salamanders, even tarantulas. They're among the most unusual pets now that have risen in popularity. To tell us more about this very strange, I suppose, thing for us now as a man who has a lifelong passion with lots of very strange critters is Collie Ennis. Collie, how are you? You join us live from your shed in
from your jungle
in Dublin, from your jungle in Tala in Dublin. Great to have you back, Collie.
My critter shed.
Come here, Collie.
Good to see you again.
Collie, why are people turning to these type of pets now?
I suppose space is a factor. The fact that tarantulas and stick insects and animals like that don't require massive amounts of space to be perfectly happy and to be able to act in a way that they would act in the wild. That's a real big plus for somebody who might be renting an apartment, who might be living in a smaller house without a garden and the ability to let a dog out for a run. So that's a big factor. Also, like, very unusual animals, of course, and you know, fascinating and really beautiful as well. People tend to think of spiders as being very dull and, you know, drab creatures, but they're actually incredibly diverse, and some of them are so beautiful. They're like orchids to me.
Do you know what? Okay, on the spider thing, because we have to deal with this first to get it out of the way. I'm actually very nervous of especially tarantulas. But do many people in Ireland keep tarantulas?
It's a massive hobby, believe it or not. Yeah, there's a lot of people who keep tarantulas. It started off really in the 80s, and it's grown since. We even have our own Irish captive breeders who breed them on. And this is very important too, because we don't want to impact on wild populations. You don't want people going out there collecting tarantulas in the wild and decimating populations. So it's ethical to breed them at home. As I said, it's a beautiful hobby. You can see one of my beautiful green bottle blue tarantulas there on the screen. Gorgeous looking spider, really colourful.
And do they walk around your hands and things? I mean, I'd be scared to death of them.
No, that's not advisable. Like a lot of wild living creatures, they're not tameable, really. They can tolerate you at best, but they tend to live in burrows. So, like, a lot of the time, I do describe them as people as a pet hole. You'll have in an enclosure, a nice looking enclosure with a hole, and occasionally you'll see her come out and you can feed her, and that's it. But
what do you feed her with, Collie? What do you feed her with?
Cockroaches, stuff I breed around here. I breed my own cockroaches, so yeah.
I'm never going to visit you. I mean, I think you're a nice guy, but I'm never, ever going to visit your house, ever in the history of the world. Anyway, salamanders, I like these cold-blooded animals. Like, remember we had them here in the studio, though, and I had them on my arm. I love them. Yeah. Lizards and salamanders and the whole lot.
Yeah, so those are tiger salamanders. They're a breeding pair I have, and one of their offspring. Again, very easy to maintain once you have the correct setup. And again, anybody wanting to get into smaller exotic pets, it's great. But you must, like a puppy, like a cat, like any other mammal that you'll get, you have to do your homework and be prepared to look after these for the long term, because those salamanders can live 30, 40 years. Spiders can live 25 years. So, you know, it's important to make plans in case you lose your job or you're moving house, that you're still going to be able to take care of these animals.
So a pet is a pet, really. But come here, tell us about stick insects, Colleen. I remember, as I said to Maura earlier on, I remember I went to Dublin for a week when I was a young fella, and the guy I was staying in the room with, he had a stick insect, and I was blown away by the whole thing. It was like a stick that moved.
Yeah, I'm going to show you one here if you want.
What's this, Maura? Seriously? Maura can't believe this. I'm going to get one for Christmas for Maura.
There you go. So, that looks like a branch there, but I'm just going to take the stick insect off itself, okay? So we even have stick insects in Ireland too. Here we go.
Look at it, Maura.
See that?
What?
Yeah. It's unreal, isn't it?
You wouldn't spot it. I'm going to move it back in front of my face so you can see.
Yeah, we can see it there.
You wouldn't spot it in the wild because it's so cryptic, is what we say. It's very well camouflaged, very, very. Very hard to spot. But
Collie, did
we
you
actually
say
have
there
them-
once in Ireland? There's someone Kerry, the home of stick insects and fungi. Seriously, did you say they're in Kerry now? Why Kerry?
Yes, they're in Kerry for probably about 100 years. In Cornwall in England, there was a big distribution centre for botany. And a lot of the big houses around England and Ireland wanted the finest and very unusual plants and species from around the world. So Cornwall was the distribution centre for a lot of plants from New Zealand, which is where these stick insects are native to. They arrived in the roots, the eggs arrived in the roots of these plants. They were shipped all over England and into some of the grand houses down in Kerry and Cork, and they've been quite happily living there for many years.
Collie, can you find them out in the wild, so can you?
In Kerry.
Outdoors. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, outdoors. Yeah, outdoors. So if you're around, and they're quite widespread down there, because kids will collect them and bring them home. And the thing about stick insects is they reproduce asexually. So you only have females. So one stick insect in your garden will lay a couple of 100 eggs. They'll overwinter, and then they'll hatch out and start munching all your brambles.
And Collie,
Do they
affect
brambles.
flowers or anything like that? I mean, they wouldn't wreck vegetation or anything like that. What do they eat?
We're very fortunate in the fact that they're quite, they're not invasive, so to speak. They're introduced. Yeah. Invasive means they're putting an impact in the new habitat, but they're only introduced. What they're eating is bramble, basically. They love brambles. They'll munch on that day, noon, and night. So they really, really enjoy it.
Collie.
So, we've so much bramble in this country, it's not going to put a dent in it.
We need to bring them to the islands.
The next time I go down to Kerry, I'm going looking for them.
You need to bring me back a couple.
I'm going to get you one for Christmas, but I also want to chat about the foxes around Trinity as well.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind of obsessed with urban foxes here on this show,
I see
Collie.
them so much in Dublin
they're
all the time
over
now.
the place.
Yeah, for a guy who loves frogs and insects, I became an amateur mammologist over the summer because we have a fox that lives on the campus in Trinity, who we called Sam because we couldn't determine if it was a male or a female. Now we know she's definitely a female. She was sick during the summer. She had mange, which can be fatal to foxes. Yeah. So we got her treated by with some anti-mange medicine that she swallowed down. She's now bursting with life. You can see how healthy she is there now, and she's got a boyfriend called Prince.
Samantha
and we had we had a lot of drama over the last couple of weeks because Prince, who had moved into the college with Sam, had a usurper from Ringsend come up, a fox with a big scar down his face, so we called him Scar. And there was a couple of battles over Sam and the territory going on around the campus. It was great drama and very interesting to see.
It's almost like a soap opera now. Collie, we're out of time nearly, but I just want to ask you very briefly about quail. Because, I've heard of, keeping chickens and all that, but quail?
Quail, yeah, I have a small flock of quail in my back garden, and for anyone who has a small space, small garden, even a small apartment, quail are amazing. There's some of the eggs one day during the summer that I collected, and there's some of the young that you can hatch out of them. But we have quail eggs for breakfast in Tala. It's amazing.
You're gone very
and you
posh
can
altogether.
Yeah, I know. I get well above my station, but it's really good. They're a lovely little animal to keep. They don't need mad space like chickens. They're really clean. And you only need a rabbit hutch or something a little bit bigger.
That's a brilliant idea. I didn't know they could be tamed like that. I thought they were in the wild. I didn't realise that.
Collie, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Great to have you.
Absolutely brilliant
Collie,
as always.
He has a fantastic podcast as well. It's called The Critter Shed, and it's available on iTunes. Critter. I was waiting for you to do that.
Critter Shed.
But today's show, the only place where we bring Samantha Fox and Prince together. I thought that match would never happen for obvious reasons.
Collie, thank you so much for sharing
Collie.
all that with us. Seriously, it's just absolutely brilliant. Such an insight, isn't it?
It's brilliant. So
how do you feel about the stick insect?
Do you know, I never knew that you could find them in the wild in Kerry.
Just Kerry is seriously keeps the game of the high.
Everything. I'm actually going to get one for you.
You need to get one.
I'll get one for you. I'll get one for Cal.
Get one for me and Cal. Two,
okay.
Two of them. I'm excited. Now, Pamela Barsley is back with us.
Present sorted?
She is, hair. Forget about hair. We just want to talk about stick insects. Now, we'll talk about a bit of hair. Of course, she's going to answer all your questions as always.
Yes, we'll also have Kitty Scully on live from her allotment about it. She's going to be getting her hands dirty and getting stuck in. Looking forward to that. We'll see you in the Vogrie.